Hi, Sean Culberson here. Haven't made one of these videos in a little while, but today I'm making it for my new class. The video today, what I'm discussing is my philosophical paper on John Dewey. Why I chose John Dewey is that when he first came out with his ideas, was considered a little bit radical in his ideas of inquiry and problem solving, critical thinking being the forefront of what we needed to do in our classrooms, of pushing students' interest and getting them involved in their own education as part of that democratic system. As we think about today in our schools, we've kind of started to shift that way. In fact, in the 60s, we were looking a little bit towards doing that with inquiry style. In fact, here in my state of Michigan, we have said that inquiry is the way to teach our science and social studies, but nothing else. And in fact, they even just say that's, the way you should teach, but teachers aren't even taught that's how you're supposed to teach it. In fact, I know for myself, I started inquiry teaching about 9 years ago, when I first started teaching science at another school and became very involved with it, loved it. I think it's intuitive in the fact that as children, we are curious and inquisitive, and we want to know things and we want to figure out things, and we ask many questions. The kids will always say, what is that? What is that? What is that? And we often get tired of it and we tell them to stop and just look things up themselves and get answers. But what John Dewey was trying to show is that we should be sparking that interest in those children, having them figuring it out themselves. And by doing that, we make those connections that then help us grow and learn and become those lifelong learners, just as he himself was. Which is why in my paper, I focus on his philosophy of education towards that. And I also think it's important in our day and age as we have become more pushed towards standardized testing. Again, many teachers I know are not for standardized testing. I myself am not, as what you often find is that I am just teaching to a test. So inquiry goes out the door because it does take a little more time, problem solving, critical thinking, because I have to get so much content into you because you have to take a test, which then reflects on you and it reflects on me. If I want to keep my job, you have to pass those tests. And then I also think it's important of why pushing John Dewey too into our schools is, if you look at when he came about with his ideas, it was in the 30s, the 40s was really when it started to get pushed, in the 20s there and stuff. And that was also a time when the United States was becoming a superpower. I mean, we were building up, we were inventing things, we were becoming the forefront. In fact, at one time, the United States, we had double the inventions of the entire world in 1 year. So every year we were inventing twice as much as the rest of the world. Because again, we were inquisitive, we're curious, we want to know things. And now we talk about, well, America's slipping, we're falling behind. Well, why are we falling behind? Because we're not pushing that creativity anymore in our schools. We're actually taking it away. And there's so many teachers who want to push it and want to do it, but again, you don't have time for it so often. So I think the answer to many of our solutions today in our educational system is John Dewey's philosophy of critical thinking, problem solving, inquiry, getting our kids to understand that. Again, if you look at other countries, again, they come to us looking at our educational system because of our push for creativity, but yet we ourselves are taking it out. Interesting, right? I mean, some of the obvious pitfalls of his is the fact that John Dewey himself was not Christian. He had nothing to do with religion, wanted nothing to do with it. But again, I guess in some ways I kind of feel like I, as a Christian, it is my job to evangelize. That's also what the church is for, and it's my job outside the school. In the classroom, I'm here to teach you educational things. I'm not here to teach you, the Bible. But again, I live my life morally by those standards and ethics, and I can convey those thoughts to you, but I'm not here to evangelize. So I think, but you can even use, which I found, I have used it in my Sunday school teaching, the inquiry style of getting kids to curious and looking things up and finding out things and doing little activities with them. So it can even apply to religious education if you want to use it outside the classroom. So back to my main thing is that John Dewey is really the answer to our educational system today if we really want to stay at the forefront of our education, forefront of our country and our inventiveness, our innovations, creativity, and pushing ourselves towards the next generation. Thank you.